brand new Bronco, what everybody's been waiting for a long time. And I think that it's definitely going to give Jeep a run for his money once they're fully available and everybody can get theirs. So let me show you why and let you be the judge for yourself. But I think it's a very good contender, if not better than the Jeep. So here we go. So this one right here is a 2021, obviously, Ford Bronco. It is a four-door wild track Sasquatch. So what does that mean? All those names. This is the big boy. This is the biggest one that you can get from the factory. It's got the Goodyear 35-inch tires, 315s, 70-17s with beadlock capable wheels. And just so you guys know, I was reading this somewhere and the accuracy is undetermined, but something I read is that Ford paid Goodyear to use a Wrangler tire, maybe not these particularly, but on the lower trim levels, a Wrangler tire, and they paid for Goodyear to take the Wrangler name off because obviously the Jeep Wrangler, and they wanted to be petty. So I thought that was pretty interesting. There you go right there, wild track Sasquatch badging on the side. You have wild track up here. This graphic along with the graphic along the side right here is an added package. Some people like it, some people don't. This one obviously is the hard top, the removable hard top. I will show you guys later in the video how that's removed. You have a full-size spare back here in the back with your backup camera right here. You have the Bronco horse logo right there. Now the one exterior feature I wish that they would have done a better job of, or just gotten rid of in general, I'm sure it's an added option, is this old style of keypad to get in and out of the vehicle. I think it's outdated, and I think it's a little out of place, to be honest. It seems just an afterthought. With keyless entry and everything like that, I feel like that's not really necessary. Maybe unless you locked your keys in the vehicle, I don't know. That's the only thing exterior-wise I don't like. Everything else about it is beautiful. I absolutely love the design. So kudos to Ford on bringing back the Bronco and actually making it look decent. A lot of people will disagree. A lot of people will agree. Whatever you want to do. Okay guys, so this is the process to take off the tops for the Bronco. Pretty straightforward. It took me and my dad a little bit of time to figure it out, but it's pretty easy. So going in the passenger side, you have a clamp down right here, and then there's one, it's like basically a turn. It's like a L-shaped hook or whatever. You turn it and it latches here. There's another latch here, and then when the back piece is on, there's one right in the middle for both the driver and passenger. So there's individual ones for both the front and driver passengers. The driver and passenger. There's individual ones, and in the back, it's a solid piece, one piece that goes across. You have to have the back on first in order to put the front two on, as there's a lip that the front two sit on. But basically, there's a hook down right there, hook down right there, and then there's three latch points that will attach on, one on the side and then two in the middle for the very back canopy. Now for the back to take off, this is what we were struggling with for a little bit. There's a bolt right here and on the passenger side that you have to take off in order for the top to come off. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 more holes in the back to disconnect, and they give you a tool. It's a what are they called, Dad? They're Torx bit. It gives you the attachment, gives you the attachment you need, and the wrench, the ratchet. Super easy. So to take the doors off is pretty straightforward. There's 2 bolts on either side. There's one right there, and there's one down here, and then you unattach the brick for the power. And what's cool is there's a little spring-loaded door on the back that closes up the connections on the body to keep, you know, obviously water and other elements to get in there from shortening it out, which I think is really nice. The Jeeps has this little pop-off panel right here, and then it connects in the harness right there. So this is really easy to do it like that, and then you just lift the door up. I don't feel like doing that because it's getting dark outside, but that's basically how you take the doors off. Pretty straightforward. Up front, the grill, after I've looked at it for a long time, is reminiscent of the early and mid 60s Broncos, or I guess mid 60s Broncos, the original one, with the smaller lights. I like it. You've got the front camera right here, obviously Bronco along the middle. This front bumper is metal, which is an added option. And down below, you've got a metal skid plate. You got tow hooks right here. Your parking sensors are in there. There's also an added option for a push bar that goes up and goes underneath the Bronco lettering. That's an added option. Another design feature that I think Ford did a great job of over the Jeep is when you go to take your doors off, you don't have to worry about not having side mirrors because the mirrors are now attached up here on the cowling in front of the hood. So you've got a way to still see behind you when you take your doors off, which is, I think, a pretty unique feature. I also was reading online that these fenders, given that there's not a lot of clearance between the top of the tire and the fender, these fenders are removable for off-roading to give you, I think, another extra inch of clearance for suspension travel. By the way, this paint is called Area 51, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of a slate gray, green, blue gray kind of color. Inside you have this tan and black with kind of a bronze and silver combination going on. Yes, everything inside is a lot of hard plastic. The door panels, only soft touch is about right here around the handle and on the armrest. Everything else is pretty hard. You've got this rivet design going on right here. You have a embossed lift message right here to where to lift the door off. You've got rubberized grab handles for both driver and passenger, which are really nice. This does have the leather seated options with the Bronco embossed in the back of the seat. Driver's seat is power. Stepping inside. Has one of the coolest boot animations that may or may not do it. It won't do it. It's okay. I'll show it to you. So you have a digital gauge that shows you your speed and your RPM, but you also have an analog gauge over here for your speedometer, obviously. You have a changeable screen over here for your trip. You can change it to off-road, showing your off-road settings and everything like that. It is push button. Massive 12 plus inch display, which is brilliant. The quality is great. It's speed, the speed is great.
Up deep house.
Turn that down. Up here you have your selectors for your front, rear diff locks, along with, I'm not sure the name of the feature, but it's actually really cool. I'm sure you guys have seen videos. What it does is on trails, and you hit this button, it locks the inside turning rear wheels brake, so you can basically pivot off that wheel, making tighter turns. Traction control, hazards, and up here you have some plug-ins for charging. Down here you got all your AC controls. You have a standard shifter, which I really like. Right here you have your GOAT modes. So what this does is, when you select it, obviously you can individually select 4 high, 4 low, 4 auto, and 2-wheel drive. But when you change the knob, when you rotate the knob up here, it brings up your drive mode. So right now we're in normal. You can go over to eco, and then you can go to sport. And when you go to sport, what it'll do is it automatically adjusts the 4-wheel drive setting based on whatever mode you're in. So it automatically goes to 4 high. Given that you may spin, it may, grab traction for the front wheels. So then you change it one more time from sport to slippery, and it keeps it in 4 high. You go one more over to mud and ruts, and at that point, it then goes to 4 high and turns on the rear diff lock. And it brings up the off-road display, which shows you that your rear differential is locked, and it shows you your camber and approach angles, which is really neat. You rotate it one more time, you have sand, and one more time, then you have Baja. And again, all of these things are adjustable individually, but these different modes, it changes based on the preference of which one you choose. So pre-installed from Ford, which is really neat. That's my dad, by the way. So continuing on in the interior, you have this, I think this is the neatest thing in the car. You have your VIN badge right here, and obviously, if you can tell, it emulates the front grille of the vehicle. So these are the headlights, obviously the rivets, and then you have the grille, which is the Ford, and it says designed and engineered in Dearborn, Michigan at the Michigan Assembly Plant, which is pretty neat. So it is built here in America. You have your window controls right here, obviously for when your doors are off, window controls, side mirrors. You also have built-in auxiliary switches, 6 of them, to wire up fog lights, spotlights, light bars, winches, whatever the case may have you. So everybody always asks, how much room do you have? So I'm sitting behind where I would be in my position for the driver's seat. I'm 5'10". This is how much knee room I have, which is a good 6-7 inches. Room, 6-7 inches. Great. You have your window controls down here. You have power for your charging. Obviously leather appointed seats, and then you have your cup holders right here. Not much else going on in the back seat. And then to the back, you have 2-piece setup, tailgate, and the glass. Lots of cargo space back here. You have a 12-volt outlet right here. Bronco logo inside the lights right here. More storage on the side. Rubberized floor mat. You have storage underneath. Some tools, the jack. So powering the Bronco, this particular Bronco, is the 2.7 liter V6, which is the bigger of the 2 engines available. Turbocharged. With 93 octane, it can make 330 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. It's all through a 10-speed automatic, which I think is the better option of the two. Obviously, there are purists that want the manual, but the manual is only offered with the 4-cylinder. I did drive the 4-cylinder with the manual, and yes, it's cool to say to have a manual in today's time, but the 4-cylinder is a little underpowered and does have a lot of turbo lag and a lot of just lag in general. So trying to roll through the gears quickly to get up to speed, it's kind of falls on its face. So if you're gonna go for anything, I would say get the bigger 2.7 with the 10-speed. Even if you get the 4-cylinder, get the 10-speed. It's butter. It makes driving so much better with this thing, especially just driving on the road. So this thing also only has a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. Now I just researched and it showed that a comparable Wrangler has a 4,500 pound towing capacity. So there's that to consider. But again, I don't know how many people are towing heavy with a Bronco or a Wrangler. So take that for whatever you will. One other small thing to note, something that I read, and I didn't get to experience this because I didn't really like trail ride this thing. I just took it at my buddy's farm in the field. But down here, this bracket for the trail arm that goes to the rear diff, it sits a good bit lower than the frame, as you can see. And I was reading online that this is a common pinch point on trails for getting hung up on rocks. As you can imagine, it sits pretty low. So there's that to consider. I'm sure aftermarket there'll be people that'll make fixes for this, but as of right now, that's probably the one hindrance off-roading this bracket. This vehicle has my vote of approval. If you're looking to get one, obviously I know that there's been some issues with production, but once they're available, I think this vehicle will really be a hit. A lot of people will enjoy these in the time to come. So if you decide to get one, holler at me, let me know, send me a DM, send me your order number, order form. I want to show Ford so I can continue to keep doing these reviews, man. I'm glad you guys enjoy them, and I'll continue to do them as long as I get cars. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe. Talk to y'all later.